بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الحمد لله ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So I welcome you back after actually a long break for Eid, and after that I was not there for a week. So we had a 2 week gap. We are on the fourth book, and we are doing the 15th page of that, and in that we are on the pointer number C. My screen is visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, alhamdulillah. Right. So, inshallah, with that, we'll start. And alhamdulillah, we were on an important ayah and the ayat of magic, and we had some discussions on that. Inshallah, we'll continue those discussions today. So, Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We'll also be covering ayat number 103 along with it. This is how we are going. These are the pointers of people who want to memorize. They can have these pointers on their fingers and visualize them, and that will give a free flow of the ayat that we are doing. Right. So, considering the pages that have gone, we have seen all this before. We are now on the 15th page. So, in the 15th page, that is divided into 3 parts, but it is a full continuation of the ayah. So linking it with the, let's see the pointers again. So following the devils, the first pointer, which is on the upper part of the little finger, right? Followed by the devils, then separated couples, evil trade knowingly, and then the last part is don't say Raina, which is actually another ruku. So the pointers are devils, separate couples in the evil trade, and the lower part is don't say Raina. Inshallah, that part we are not going to take today. So we are going to take the evil trade and knowingly of the evil trade, right? So going to the background of the ayat that is there, this is the ayat of magic, and in the ayat of magic, it has been very clearly explained to us what this magic is and how it affects and how it doesn't affect, right? So we saw some part of it last time, and the continuation of this is the dialogue between the Jews of Medina, and they were being given examples of the Bani Israel. Just before this ayat, we have seen that the ayat that had preceded before, the arguments that were given, and they were asked to see the Torah, and they had thrown the Torah on their backs, which means that they did not want to follow the Torah. Instead, they started following the books of magic, and they started to compare the deen that the Prophet ﷺ had got with the magic that they had with them. So with that, Allah Ta'ala has made it very clear in the beginning itself, وَاتَّبَعُوا مَا تَتْلُو الشَّيَاطِينَ, that they followed what the shayateen were reciting, تَتْلُو الشَّيَاطِينَ عَلَى مُلْكِ سُلَيْمَانَ, on the mulk of Sulaiman. And Allah Ta'ala is clarifying, وَمَا كَفَرَ سُلَيْمَانَ وَلَكِنَّ الشَّيَاطِينَ كَفَرُوا, that Sulaiman did not do kufr, but the shayateen did kufr. And how did they do kufr? They taught the people the sihr of magic. And then Allah Ta'ala also informed us, وَمَا أُنزِلَ عَلَى الْمَلَكَيْنِ, and whatever was revealed to the angels. We see the difference in the words when the shaitan is being talked about, and what shaitan is doing is يُعَلِّمُونَ النَّاسِ, he is teaching the people what? Sihr. And when Allah Ta'ala is talking about the angels, Allah Ta'ala is using the words وَمَا أُنزِلَ عَلَى الْمَلَكَيْنِ, whatever was nazil, whatever was descended on the angels. Be Babil in Babylon, which is present day Iraq, Harut wa Marut. And again, to re-emphasize, Wama yu'allimani, and they did not teach. So nowhere it is very clearly mentioned that these angels were teaching them, right? So Wama yu'allimani min ahadin hatta yaqula, until they said, Innama nahnu fitna, that indeed we are a trial, fala takfur, so don't disbelieve. Fayata'allamuna minhuma, so it was the people who learned. Right, so Allah Ta'ala is not saying that the angels taught them. Allah Ta'ala is saying that the people learned, and we saw from the hadith of Ibn Abbas and had shared that link with you also, that whenever they used to clarify to the people on what this magic is and how it is and what is the reality of magic and all that, and if they still wanted to learn, these angels used to send them to shaitan, and then the shaitan would teach them. So that's why if you see the words here, words written as فَيَتَعَلَّمُونَ, so they learned minhuma, from them, ma yufarriquna bihi bainal mar'i wa zawji, that would cause separation between man and his wife. This is the most important part. وَمَا هُمْ بِضَارِّينَ بِهِ, and they did not harm anyone with it except بِإِذْنِ. So this is the most important part, that even if magic is there, it is haq, but it will happen only if Allah wants it to happen, and only if Allah permits somebody to do magic on somebody, right? So we have to consider this as the most important aspect of the ayah, where if we are trusting Allah completely, Allah will sort of help us in everything. And even if somebody is affected with magic, it is not without the permission of Allah. So Allah Ta'ala will give permission. We have the example of Ayyub alayhi salam, where Ayyub alayhi salam was tried and tested by shaitan, but it was with the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah Ta'ala said that he is my servant and he would pass the test. So even if somebody is getting affected with magic, he should not take the wrong routes, because this is a test for that person. This is exactly what the angels had clarified. Innama nahnu fitna. Indeed, we are a trial. Again, don't forget the words illa bi idhnillah, that nothing is going to happen except with the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَيَتَعَلَّمُونَ مَا يَضُرُّهُمْ وَلَا يَنْفَعُهُمْ, and they learned what hurt them or damaged them, and they did not benefit them. This also proves the fact that learning magic is a harmful thing. It is harmful for your iman, it is harmful for your heart and your belief process, because then you start trusting somebody other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is how, even in our community, we have a lot of people who are doing business in the name of magic, and they are earning a good earning, so to say, and they are unfortunately doing kufr in that, right? So you might have people with long beards, people who are maybe praying 5 times, and they involved in these kind of activities, and with that, Allah Ta'ala is making it very clear, وَيَتَعَلَّمُونَ مَا يَضُرُّهُمْ وَلَا يَنْفَعُهُم, that they learned what hurt them and did not benefit them. So this, you clearly understand that magic is something that is not to be learned, and it is harmful to us. And this is exactly what the angels also said, right? So there is some ambiguity, and a lot of tafsir have said that these 2 angels taught magic, but as we see the hadith of Ibn Abbas, which clearly says that they were sent to shaitan to learn the magic. And if you analyze the ayah very clearly, the words used are never that the angels yu'allimani taught. The people learned, right? So they were talking the truth, and they were trying to explain the people what the reality of magic is, and they told them that not to do kufr, which means not to learn this, but it is the evil people who still wanted to learn, and they would have learned it, right? So 2, 3 things, that wama unzila, and whatever was revealed. So Allah Ta'ala did not reveal magic. Allah Ta'ala has given permission to certain shayateen to be able to do magic, right? But even if that magic is happening, it is with the permission of Allah. So we have to place our complete tawakkul on Allah, and the techniques which the Prophet ﷺ has taught us to remain away from this evil of magic and other evils, hasad and other evils as well, right? So we have to try and gain knowledge so that we are in the right direction. Otherwise, our own belief system will be shaken completely if we trust these magic and magicians. We have to trust completely in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala only. And if we are having any iota of doubt on that, then our iman gets hurt, and iman is in stake. So this is a very, very important ayah, and we have to take proper lessons from it, and we have to educate people, other people also about it, right? So with the background, as we saw, the only thing is when people throw the book of Allah behind. So the ayah before that, on the 14th page, the pointer number D, what it is, وَنَبَذَ فَرِيقٌ مِّنَ الَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْكِتَابَ كِتَابَ اللَّهِ وَرَاءَ ظُهُورِهِمْ. They threw the book of Allah behind. So when people will throw the book of Allah behind and not follow it, then they will follow the shayateen. So as I say, there could be only 2 types of bandas, bandai Rahman and bandai Shaitan. We have to see what we have to become. So we have to try and become the slaves of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And in this, we unfortunately see many of our own people who so-called are Muslims, but they are involved in such kind of dirty activities, and with that they are spoiling their dunya as well as akhirah, because dunya, if they're doing the wrong deeds, and then akhirah is completely ruined. Right? So with that, inshallah, with this background of 2 weeks break, we go back to the ayat that we've done and we continue from there. So the ayat of today, this is the ayat. So evil trading and knowingly trading, right? So they sold their rewards in exchange for severe punishment. They did an evil deal knowingly, but did not realize the far-reaching consequences of their actions. لَوْ كَانُوا يَعْلَمُونَ, only if they knew. If they had studied the book instead of leaving it aside, if they studied the book, and it is our same condition today, we have not studied the book, we do not know what is there in the Quran, and because of that, we could also fall trap to the shaitan's fabrications which the shaitan has kept ready for us. So if we study the book and maintain our iman and taqwa, there are huge rewards from Allah. So these are the lessons that we need to take from today's part of the ayah. And in this, we just have few new words, and I think they are just khalaq and sharo and masuba. So these are the new words, but I think they are not difficult, inshallah. So with that, we start. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ولقد علموا لمن اشتراه ما له في الآخرة من خلاق ولبئس ما شروا به أنفسهم لو كانوا يعلمون. So وَلَقَدْ, wa is and, atifa, wa atifa, which is of and. Laqad is indeed, that they already did that. It shows that this thing is in past and it is already done. And laqad will be followed by the past tense verb. So alima is a word and alimu is a plural. وَلَقَدْ alimu, and they all already knew. They indeed knew. What they knew? La is surely. Man ishtara. The man has become money because of the hamzatul wasl that is here. I just highlight that. So this is man means who. La man is surely who. Man has become money because of this hamzatul wasl here, right? So this was man, but because of this hamzatul wasl, there is a kasra which is put. So la man sharau, la mana sharau, it will not be right. That's why la manish tarau, who. So ishtara is what form? Let's revise it. Ishtara is what form? Ishtara is what form? What are the root words?
Ikhtalafa.
Ikhtalafa, mashallah, very good. Ikhtalafa, that's absolutely right. Right? If you see there's another word down, sharau, which means sold. Right? Ishtarau means to buy. Right? Ifta'ala, it's on the bab ifta'ala. Ikhtalafa is the word that we have studied for it. Right? So ishtarahu, buys it. Ma lahu, ma is not, lahu for him, not for him. Fil akhirati, in the akhirah. Min khalaqin, min khalaqin. Khalaqin is share. It should have been ma lahu fil akhirati khalaqan, because there is no share. Share is the object here, but because of min, it has become min khalaqin, and min makes it any. So in Urdu में कोई भी share नहीं है, जरा भी कुछ नहीं मिलेगा. एक है कि कुछ नहीं मिलेगा और एक है जरा भी कुछ नहीं मिलेगा. Right? So because of min, it becomes any shares, which means that in the akhirah they will have nothing. So this is a very important ayah which says that they learned, and whatever they learned, they bought with it, and because of what they bought, they will not have in the akhirah any share. Right? Which means that they lost their tawakkul on Allah. They started believing something else because of the magic, and because of that, they will have nothing in the akhirah. And this is such a doom thing, and this is such a bad thing that you have nothing in the akhirah. All the things that we are striving today, and our whole life is actually for our akhirah. And if we are losing that, then it's a very huge loss. So walaqad, and indeed, alimu, they knew, laman, surely the one who, ishtarahu, buys it, buys what? Buys the magic. Ma lahu, not for him, fil akhirati, in the akhirah, min khalaq, any share. Wa, and la, surely. So this la is also surely. Bi'sa is evil. So surely evil. Allah Ta'ala is using the word surely for another emphasis. Wala bi'sa ma, what? Sharaw bihi. So sharaw is to sell or to exchange or to barter. Sharaw bihi, sold with it. Anfusahum. So Allah Ta'ala is saying that they have sold their own souls because of what they bought, which means that the fact that they learned magic and then they wanted to practice magic and then it felt that doing magic is right. Because of that, they have sold their own souls. So their souls is what we are earning for. Our bodies are going to decay here. Our souls is what we are going to take with us, and then the bodies will be given back to us. So Allah Ta'ala is telling here very clearly that because of the act that their bodies have done here, their souls will suffer, and they have sold their souls for what they bought, which means that the learning of magic is selling your own selves and selling your own souls for a bad business or bad exchange. And Allah Ta'ala is then adding the fact, لَوْ كَانُوا يَعْلَمُونَ, only if they knew. So people who are doing it, they are doing it out of ignorance. And because of that, Allah Ta'ala is saying, only if they knew. So how will we know? If we open the book of Allah, we clearly find what is to be done and what is not to be done. And Allah Ta'ala is clarifying everything for us in this book. That's why this book is called Shifa. That's why this book is called Noor. But if we are still just reading this book and hanging it on our necks, tying it around our arms, we are not achieving the purpose for which the book has been sent, right? So the book has been sent to get zulumat out of us and enlighten us and to get the Noor within. And this is the same Noor that will be helpful for us in the Akhirah on the day that we will be going to the Pul Sirat. We will be yearning for this Noor, right? So to get the Noor, we have to put this book into implementation. If just hanging it on the neck and tying it on the arms is not going to serve the purpose. So وَلَقَدْ عَلِمُوا لَمَنِ اشْتَرَاهُ مَا لَهُ فِي الْآخِرَةِ مِنْ خَلَاقٍ وَلَبِئْسَ مَا شَرَوْا بِهِ أَنفُسَهُمْ لَوْ كَانُوا يَعْلَمُونَ. So and indeed they knew what they knew that whoever buys it, not for him in the hereafter any share, and surely evil is what they sold with it themselves if they were to know. Okay. So who will do the ayah today? Last time who has done? We have a long break. So maybe Akhtar Saab, aap kar lenge?
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ولقد علموا لمن اشتراه ما له في الآخرة من خلاق ولبئس ما شروا به أنفسهم.
Bihi, there's a mud there. بئس ما شروا به أنفسهم.
ما شروا به أنفسهم لو كانوا يعلمون.
Okay.
But that's all, no?
Yeah.
وَلَقَدْ, and indeed, alimu, they knew, لَمَنِ اشْتَرَاهُ, that whoever buys it, مَا لَهُ, not for him, فِي الْآخِرَةِ مِنْ خَلَاقٍ, in the hereafter any share. وَلَبِئْسَ, and surely evil, ma is what? Sharaw, they sold, bihi, with it, bihi anfusahum, they sold, sharaw bihi anfusahum, sharaw bihi anfusahum, they sold with it themselves. Law kanu ya'lamun, if they were to know.
Right. So they did not know that they were doing wrong, but it is just that shaitan entices us to do wrong things, and with that enticement, if we give into that, then we would fall into trap of such things, right? So sharau B is to exchange or to sell with something else. So they are selling with, because of this B, it means that they sold it for their own souls or their own selves. Okay. Okay. So they knew that they will lose the akhirah and face the severe punishment. Whom are they selling in this deal? They are selling themselves. Because they are selling themselves, this is such an evil sale and an evil trade. So now we have to identify what are such evil things that are there around us, which we need to avoid so that we don't fall trap to such things. So we have a lot of parrot readers, card readers, parrots who will remove something and tell us our things. Some people will want, okay, what do I'm going for such an important work. So what clothes should I wear? And trying to get good omens and bad omens, and then every paper you will have this articles which will want to tell you how is your week going to be and all that. So all this is prediction of the future, and all this is not to be done. If you're falling trap to that, we will also be responsible for our own souls and selling our own souls, right? So everyday papers will give you some tips for the week for your zodiac signs and all that. That is all part of shirk, and we have to understand that very clearly. Okay, and we have to also tell other people who might be doing that. So it is sometimes nowadays become so common that people will not even consider it as a sin. But the Quran has opened everything for us very clearly, and we should try to follow that rather than trying to follow our zodiac signs and what is there for us in this week. So in that, what they do is they just put some general things, and when you start correlating with your own thing, and you start feeling, oh no, this is right and that is right and that is right, and then their wordings, if you see, are generalized, which could fall to anybody or fit to anybody. But the fact that we are trusting that rather than trusting Allah, we could also be responsible in selling our own souls for that. So we have to be aware of this and try to avoid it. Okay, so we'll take the next part of the ayah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. وَلَوْ أَنَّهُمْ آمَنُوا وَاتَّقَوْا لَمَثُوبَةٌ مِّنْ عِندِ اللَّهِ الْخَيْرُ لَوْ كَانُوا يَعْلَمُونَ. وَلَوْ, and if, أَنَّهُمْ, they all, آمَنُوا, believed, وَاتَّقَوْا, and feared, لَمَثُوبَةٌ, la, surely, mathubatun, reward, min indillah, that reward that is with Allah, is khair, is good. Law kanu ya'lamun, only if they knew, right? So now Allah Ta'ala is, what they are saying is that Allah Ta'ala expected them to have iman and have taqwa of Allah, right? So if you're believing, and if somebody, Allah Ta'ala is testing you with something, then you should have taqwa of Allah. You should fear Allah rather than falling to that trap. So if we are following the book, which means that we have iman and we have the fear of Allah, then Allah is watching us, whatever we are doing. If we are doing something wrong, then Allah could punish us for that. So that itself is something that is going to be rewarding us. And with that, Allah Ta'ala is saying, وَلَوْ أَنَّهُمْ آمَنُوا وَاتَّقَوْا, only if they had believed, which means that they had not done kufr, they had not done magic. That is what is the belief also in Allah. And they had feared Allah. وَاتَّقُوا, then surely the reward is with Allah, and whatever reward is with Allah is khair, is good. So we have to yearn for it, we have to earn it also, right? And law kanu ya'lamun, only if they knew. So Allah Ta'ala is informing us about certain things that we also have to follow, so that if we have iman and if we have fear of Allah in our hearts, then for us also the reward surely is with Allah, and whatever is there with Allah is khair, whatever is there with Allah is baqi. وَعِنْدَ اللَّهِ خَيْرٌ وَأَبْقَى. What is there with Allah is better and is abqa, is everlasting. Whatever is there in this world, or if some gain that somebody is going to get with this tarot reading, with this future predictions, with this vastu, or so many things are there which could endanger our iman. So if we are avoiding that, ijtanibu, avoid that, then what is there with Allah is much better, and we have to, and it is everlasting. So whatever you have here would just get over. So there will be some people who will say, no, your house direction should be such and your door should be here and there. But whatever Allah has destined for somebody, that person is going to get that. So if you have tawakkal on Allah, and if you have tawakkal on the qadr that Allah has created, then inshallah things will be whatever is in the taqdeer you're going to get, but whatever is there with Allah is better. Okay? So I think Dr. Mohsin ने last 2-3 times से नहीं किया है, तो Dr. Mohsin साहब आप कर लेंगे? Dr. Mohsin है या नहीं? I think he's not there. Okay. Dr. Abdul Rahman साहब आप कर लें?
जी أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ولو أنهم آمنوا واتقوا لمصوبة من عند الله خير لو كانوا يعلمون ولو أنهم, and if that they amanu had believed, wattaqaw, and fear Allah, lama lamasubatun, surely their reward min indillahi khair, from Allah would have been better. Law kanu ya'lamun, and if they were to know.
And if they knew about it, if they knew that this was there, then they would have believed in Allah and feared Allah. But now we are reading this ayat and we know that if we believe in Allah and have taqwa of Allah, then the reward with Allah is better. So we have to act accordingly. May Allah make it easy for us to act on His book and to have iman and have taqwa of Allah. So if they studied the book, instead of leaving it aside, they would have known that the iman and taqwa leads to huge rewards from Allah. So you have to try and follow that. What a strong reminder from the Creator of heavens and the earth, how merciful Allah is, how great His love for us is. He's wishing for us to realize the truth after He sent it to us through His messenger. So magic is such a complicated thing, and a lot of people fall trap to it. And Allah Ta'ala has made things very simple and very plain and very clear. Just one part of the ayah, and it is all amply clear, bi-iznillah, that nothing was going to happen without the izn of Allah, right? So if we are just trusting this much fact, this part, that's it that we require, and that will be inshallah enough for us. So then we to come to the hadith of the day. According to Zayd ibn Arqam radiallahu anhu, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to supplicate. So this is one of the dua, and a good dua. We should try and memorize this if it is possible. Just write it somewhere and memorize it. It is there in the books if everybody has the books, or if they are taking it online. So what it is, Allahumma, O Allah, ati, give or grant, nafsi, my nafs, taqwaha, give my nafs its taqwa, right? So we are asking for Allah's help to give our nafs taqwa so that our nafs doesn't get sold out, right? So Allahumma ati nafsi taqwaha wa zakkiha. Zakka is to purify. Wa zakkiha. Nafs is feminine, that's why zakkiha. And taqwaha. Nafs is feminine, that's why taqwaha and zakkiha. Anta khairu. You are the better or the best. Man zakkaha. Whoever can purify it in the best way, right? So we can also try to purify our hearts, but if Allah Ta'ala is wanting to purify our hearts, He is the best of the one who can purify the hearts. Anta waliyuha, you are its protecting friend, protector. Wali is protector, wa maulaha, and its guardian, right? So this is a very nice and very good dua that we can ask for our nafs, right? So as I said, by doing magic, we are doing something bodily, but our nafs is getting affected. So we have to do things from our body so that the nafs gets benefit. And one of the things that we can do is to make this dua. Allahumma ati nafsi taqwaha wa zakkiha anta khayru man zakkaha anta waliyuha wa maulaha. So now we are out of the both Eids and we have the full year to go. So we need to keep asking taqwa from Allah, right? So in Ramzan, somewhere our taqwa levels are better. And then during the Eid, the Zulhijjah, the Hajj period also, we are involved in alhamdulillah fasting and other acts of worship. But then now we have a good time till we reach Ramadan again. Still then we have to protect our hearts, right? So अपने दिलों को संभालो, अपने नफ्सों को संभालो, and the ayat that we have discussed before also, which is there in Surah Al-Ma'idah, which says uh, that alaykum anfusakum, upon you is your soul, which means you have to take care of yourself, right? That's also a very important ayat. We have discussed this a couple of times before also. So we have to take care of our souls, and for that we are asking Allah for help. Allahumma ati nafsi taqwaha wa zakkiha anta khayra man zakkaha anta waliyuha wa mawlaha. Right, so alhamdulillah, we have done the thing. We'll go to the translation English of it, and indeed they knew that what whoever purchased it, that is magic, would not have any share in the hereafter, and surely evil is that for which they sold themselves, if they only knew. And if they had believed and feared Allah, then indeed the reward from Allah would have been better only if they knew. Right? So this is the two ayat. So we have to ask Allah, oh Allah, bless us with knowledge that leads to strong belief in you, in your messengers, in your books, in the hereafter, in the qadr, and in taqwa. Not to believe in magic. Okay, so that is what we should make dua. And inshallah, I will keep some time aside to ponder the verses of the Quran to increase my knowledge and faith every day. And as I said, this ayat that we've done today is a very, very important ayat. So let's go to the words. We have seen this before. Anfus is the plural, and the singular of that is nafsun. Alima we have done many times. Alima, ya'lamu, i'lam, alim, ma'lum, and ilm. Then we have shara with the roots of sheen, ra, ya. It's a weak word, and it is on the pattern of hada. So shara, yashri, hada, yahdi, ihdi. Shara, yashri, ishri, sharin, mashriyun, and shira'un. Means to sell. And when it is followed by a B, it means to sell for something or exchange it with something. Kana we have done a lot of times. Kana yakun, kun, kain, and kaun. Then we saw the ifta'ala pattern. Ikhtalafa, ishtara. This has a weak word also in it, ya. So shara is the root words sheen, ra, and ya. Ishtara, yashtari, ishtari, mushtarin, mushtara, and ishtira'un. Right, so this is the head what. Then we have amana, which is we have done also many times on the pattern of aslama, amana, yu'minu, amin, mu'min, mu'man, and iman. Then we have waqaya, waqa, and on the pattern of ikhtalafa we have ittaqa. From that comes wattaqa, right? Wattaqa, and the plural that is wattaqaw, wattaqaw, amanu, wattaqaw. So ittaqa, yattaqi, ittaqi, muttaqin. Person who has taqwa of Allah is called muttaqi. So muttaqin, muttaqa, the thing that is feared or the thing for which we have fear. Ittiqa'un, that taqwa is ittiqa is the verbal noun of that, because it is the part of ikhtalafa. So ittiqa'un. Okay, alhamdulillah. So that completes the Quranic part. It was a very important ayat. We have 5 minutes left before this session gets over. So till then, if anybody has any queries regarding this ayah, because it's a very important ayah, we have spent almost, I would say, the first 2 and then 2 weeks we did not have. So almost 5 weeks we are on this ayah, and we have had some revisions with it. So with that, anybody has any doubts on this?
So in the book, no, I'm referring to book, the Shara, Yashri, in that line they have written to buy. And in the translation side, there's a Ma Shara, they sold.
Right. So shara is when it is following it with B, it means to exchange or to barter. So barter would mean to buy, and if it doesn't have a B next to it, then it is. And ishtara pattern would mean the action is happening on the same person, right? So that's why it is buy. So it can be earlier there was no buying and selling with money. It was exchanging something. It was like a barter system. So there's selling and buying both are like same. Right here now we have the concept of selling and buying because now we have money. So we give money and we buy something. Earlier it was just barter system. So I have some rice and somebody has some wheat, then I will exchange that. So when they're exchanging with something, you'll have a ba following the verb. Shara bihi or ishtara bihi anfusahum. So B would mean that there is an exchange. So they have sold their nafs for the learning that they did. So this thing has gone a lot of times before also. Uh, wherever there is a B which follows, it means to exchange it. So there the meaning that the right is buy. Okay. So this concept of buying and selling is when you it is like one-sided, but this was not there before. In the past, people used to just barter things. They used to exchange things for some gain, or exchange. If I have dates and somebody else has kishmish, then they will just exchange it for their worth. Or somebody has kaju and I have dates, so they will just exchange it. So now we consider selling and buying as completely different acts, but earlier it was just an exchange of things, and that's why the words are can be used according to their usage or as we understand in the ayah. Right, so this is a very important ayat. So if all of you are understood well, I would want that you try to educate all other people about this ayat, because this has got a lot of bearing on whatever wrong, a lot of wrong that people from our community are doing, and in the name of religion, right? So Quran is saying something, and then they will practice something else, and they will feel that they are doing religion by just hanging ayat somewhere, or hanging it on their necks, or wearing amulets around their hand with those ayat. So the whole some amulets have got some things written, and they are all having shirk in it, right? So we have to very vary about what is being worn and things like that. Because if somebody is going to somebody who's making those amulets, then we don't know exactly what is written there, and sometimes some impurities might be there. So like some people write it with those impurities, and the shaitans like that, and that is how they would do some things, and that's how the magic goes. So we have a lot of people in our community who are involved in such kind of sinful activities, and they don't consider it a sin. So wherever we are seeing something wrong, we have to try and educate people about it.
Usually today the weather prediction
Yeah.
that comes. So
Yeah.
should we follow or we understand
No,
whether
see,
that is
now when it is, listen, yeah, very, very good question. When something is being done scientifically, then that is not magic. Okay. So when we say they will analyze the images from the satellite, and then predict that, okay, there are so many clouds here, and it has so much water in it, and with that they will predict that, okay, now there is a likelihood of rain happening. So that is not magic. Okay. That is an information that is being given to you, and in spite of that information, maybe it rains that much, or maybe it does not rain that much. Okay. So that is not magic, right? So following something systematically, they are not considering it magic. It is just a scientific observation on which they are reporting. So they might find that the pressure in one area is higher and the other area is lower. Now the wind is going to go from here to there. So chances of a cyclone is there, or such things. So that is not considered magic. So you can follow that and take precautions according to the thing. So that is not considered magic. Magic is when somebody will promise you go in the trains and you'll find any problem. You go to this Baba and he's going to solve it. Right? So the Baba cannot solve his own problems. How is he going to solve your problems? Right? So following a scientifically made thing is a different thing, and following something blindly is a different thing. We have less than a minute, so rather than cutting our talk, I would suggest we close this session and we join in again, and we can continue the discussion in that, inshallah. Okay? Because it's less than 1 minute, so while talking, it might just cut off. So any other questions are there, we'll take it in the beginning itself of the next session, inshallah. Okay, so now I think we'll leave, and then I want you all to join back again. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.